It was 1 a.m. Not unusual for me. I was always up late. I spent my afternoons wasting time, binge-watching shows, reading comics, playing games, anything but studying. So I always ended up cramming, desperately trying to absorb information under the dim glow of my desk lamp. It was an unhealthy cycle, one I couldn't seem to break. But somehow I never failed a subject. Maybe that's why I kept doing it. Cramming for a few hours was better than not studying at all, right? That night, I was hunched over my desk, highlighter in hand, half zoning out to the hum of lo-fi music in my headphones. I had been staring at the same page for too long when, out of nowhere, something caught my eye. Something outside my window. I wasn't sure what made me look up. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was the way the shadow seemed off. And that's when I saw it. A pale face staring back at me through the glass. For a split second, my stomach dropped. My mind screamed, "Someone's there!" I jerked in my seat, nearly knocking over my lamp, but then I exhaled, feeling ridiculous. It wasn't a person. It was just an owl. A barn owl, to be exact. Dark, beady eyes, a small, sharp beak, that ghostly white face. I let out a shaky laugh. God, I was jumpy. The owl, however, didn't move. It simply stared, tilting its head slightly, calm, unbothered. Did it blink? Maybe. It was hard to tell in the dark. I rubbed my arms, suddenly aware of the chill creeping in from the window. I had never seen an owl land outside my bedroom before. Strangely enough, I found its presence reassuring. I live alone. I enjoy my solitude, but sometimes the silence feels too loud. So maybe it was nice, having some kind of company, even if it was just a bird. I turned back to my notes, trying to focus. I didn't know then that this was just the beginning. One quick note, if you're still listening, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps more than you know. And trust me, you'll want someone to talk to after hearing the rest of this story. The next night at exactly 1 a.m., the owl was back. This time its back was facing me. I hesitated before tapping on the glass. The owl turned its head, a smooth, too-fluid motion. I smiled. Hello. It didn't react. Did it blink? I still couldn't tell, but somehow it felt like it was acknowledging me. I found that cute. That was my mistake. A week passed, and every night at exactly 1 a.m., the owl was there. At first, it was comforting. Then, it wasn't. Because it never moved. Not once had I seen it arrive, nor had I seen it leave. I never caught it flapping its wings, never saw its head twitch in that eerie avian way. It was just there, unmoving, watching me. Something was wrong. I decided to test it. That night, I sat at my desk at 12:50 a.m., pretending to study, but my eyes never left the window. Outside, the glass reflected my dimly lit room, nothing else. 12:55, 12:58. I blinked, and suddenly, 1 a.m. I looked up, and it was there, perched in the exact same spot. My chest tightened. How had it gotten there without making a sound? Owls are silent flyers. That's normal. That's what I told myself. But that didn't explain why I never saw it come or go. And it didn't explain the eyes. They were empty, no shine, no reflection, no sign of life, like glass beads. That night, I shut my curtains for the first time. I told myself I was being silly, I was overthinking. But even as I lay in bed, staring at the faint glow of my lamp against the fabric, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. I barely slept. The next night, I hesitated before going to my desk. I told myself it didn't matter whether the owl was there or not. I just needed to study. Still, my hands felt cold as I reached for the curtains. I pulled them open. The owl was closer, pressed against the glass. So close I could see the faint outline of its face, distorted by the reflection of my lamp. My pulse pounded in my ears. For the first time, I felt something I hadn't felt before. I felt trapped. Like if I turned my back, it would find a way inside. I tried to ignore it. I didn't look up for the rest of the night. but I could feel it. Even with my head down, my body refused to relax. The weight of its presence sat heavy on my shoulders. That night, I slept with my curtains shut, but I still felt it, waiting, watching. The next day, I had to know. I had a battery-powered motion sensor light in my closet, one I had bought for night walks but never used. I grabbed it, opened the window just enough to slip my hand out, stuck the light to the outside wall. Then I waited. At exactly 1 a.m., I felt it. That pressure, that awareness. My fingers trembled as I reached for my phone. I tapped into an old night vision filter. I switched it on. For a moment, just static and shadows. Then, the motion light flicked on, and I stopped breathing. Outside my window, standing perfectly still, was not an owl. It was a man, dressed in all black, his face hidden beneath the unmistakable mask of a barn owl. I dropped my phone, the light clicked off, and the dark swallowed me whole. I couldn't see him, but I knew he was there, waiting, just on the other side. If you're listening to this right now, do yourself a favor. Lock your windows, close your curtains, and for the love of God, like and subscribe. You don't want to be alone when this happens to you.